Have you ever noticed something strange? The smartest people in a room are often the quietest. While others are talking loudly, trying to prove their knowledge, the most intelligent person is usually sitting calmly, observing everything. They are not rushing to speak. They are not trying to impress anyone. They simply watch, listen, and understand. At first, this may seem confusing, because most people believe that intelligence is shown by talking more, arguing more, or proving others wrong. But the truth is very different. Real intelligence often appears in silence. Smart people understand something that most people never realize. Words are powerful, but silence can be even more powerful. Every time you speak, you reveal your thoughts, your emotions, and sometimes even your weaknesses. But when you stay quiet, you gain something much more valuable. You gain information. You learn how people think. You understand their intentions. You notice details that others completely miss. This is why intelligent people often prefer listening over speaking. They know that listening is the fastest way to learn, and learning is the foundation of intelligence. When someone talks too much, they are usually trying to be noticed. But when someone listens carefully, they are quietly building knowledge. Think about the most successful leaders, entrepreneurs, or thinkers. Many of them share one common habit. They observe more than they speak. They analyze situations before reacting. They think before expressing their opinions. This habit gives them a huge advantage, because when you speak less, your words become more valuable. People start paying attention when you talk. Your voice carries weight, your opinions feel thoughtful, and your presence becomes stronger. Silence also creates an aura of confidence. People who constantly talk often appear insecure. They feel the need to prove themselves again and again. But those who stay calm and speak only when necessary show a different kind of strength. A quiet strength, a controlled strength, a strength that comes from deep understanding. Smart people do not speak to fill silence. They speak when their words truly matter. But silence does not mean weakness, and it does not mean lack of confidence. In fact, silence often means the opposite. It means control. Control over emotions, control over reactions, control over ego. And that level of control is something very few people develop. In the next part, we will explore something even more interesting. Why intelligent people choose silence even when they know they are right, and how silence can become one of the most powerful tools for influence, respect, and success. One of the biggest reasons smart people stay quiet is simple. They understand the true cost of arguments. Most people believe that winning an argument means proving they are right. But intelligent people see things differently. They know that many arguments are not about truth. They are about ego. When two people argue, they are rarely trying to understand each other. Instead, they are trying to defeat each other. And when ego enters the conversation, logic usually disappears. Smart people recognize this pattern very quickly. They know that arguing with someone who is emotionally attached to their opinion rarely changes anything. It only creates frustration. That is why intelligent individuals often choose silence instead of confrontation. Not because they are afraid, but because they understand something important. Not every battle is worth fighting. Imagine two people standing in a room. One person speaks loudly, interrupting others, constantly trying to prove that they know more. The second person sits quietly, listening carefully. Most people might assume that the first person is more confident. But in reality, the second person is usually the one who understands the situation better, because listening reveals information, and information creates power. Smart people collect information before forming conclusions. They watch how people react. They observe body language. They notice hidden emotions behind words. All of these details help them understand the situation far better than someone who is simply talking. This ability to observe quietly gives intelligent people an advantage in almost every area of life. In conversations, in business, in relationships, even in conflicts. Silence allows them to analyze instead of react. And reacting emotionally is something smart people try to avoid. Another reason intelligent people stay quiet is because they value their mental energy. Arguing with everyone, explaining yourself to everyone, or reacting to every opinion is exhausting. And more importantly, it is unnecessary. Smart people focus their energy on things that truly matter. Their goals, their work, their personal growth. They understand that attention is one of the most valuable resources a person has. Where you direct your attention determines the direction of your life. This is why intelligent individuals often ignore meaningless discussions. They simply move on. They choose progress over pointless debates. Over time, this habit builds something very powerful: respect. People start noticing that this person does not speak unnecessarily, and when they finally do speak, everyone listens, because their words are thoughtful, clear, and meaningful. Silence in this way becomes a form of quiet authority. The person who speaks less often appears more confident and composed, and confidence attracts respect naturally. Another powerful reason intelligent people stay quiet is emotional control. Most people react immediately to situations. If someone criticizes them, they respond instantly. If someone insults them, they argue back. If someone disagrees with them, they try to prove themselves right. These reactions are natural, but they are often driven by emotion rather than understanding. Smart people recognize this difference. They know that reacting too quickly often leads to mistakes. Words spoken in anger can damage relationships. Emotional responses can create unnecessary conflict, and sometimes a single careless sentence can change how people see you forever. That is why intelligent people pause. They give themselves time to think. Instead of reacting instantly, they observe the situation. They analyze the intention behind someone's words, and they decide whether the situation truly deserves a response. Many times the answer is simple: it doesn't. Silence becomes their shield. When you stay quiet, you refuse to let someone control your emotions. You refuse to give them the reaction they are expecting, and this is incredibly powerful, because many people try to provoke reactions intentionally. They want attention. They want to feel important. They want to see you lose control. But when you remain calm and silent, their strategy fails. Your silence protects your peace. It protects your reputation, and it protects your mental clarity. Another important reason smart people stay quiet is awareness. They understand that not everyone deserves access to their thoughts. Sharing every idea with every person can create problems. Some people misunderstand. Some people judge. Some people even try to use your words against you. Intelligent individuals understand the value of selective communication. They speak openly with people they trust. But in many situations, they choose to keep their thoughts private. This is not secrecy. It is wisdom, because silence gives you time to think clearly, and clear thinking leads to better decisions. Imagine someone who speaks every thought that comes to mind. Sooner or later, they will say something they regret. But someone who speaks carefully and thoughtfully avoids many unnecessary problems. Silence also creates mystery. People naturally become curious about individuals who do not reveal everything about themselves. They begin to wonder what that person is thinking. They pay closer attention when that person finally speaks. This curiosity increases influence, because words that are rare carry more weight. Smart people understand this. They understand that silence is not emptiness. Silence is strategy. Silence is observation. Silence is emotional intelligence in action. There is another reason intelligent people often choose silence. Silence naturally creates respect. In everyday life, most people talk constantly. They fill every quiet moment with words. They interrupt others. They rush to give opinions even when they are not asked. Because of this, their words slowly lose value. When someone speaks all the time, people stop paying attention. Their voice becomes background noise. But a quiet person creates a completely different effect. When someone rarely speaks, people become curious. They start wondering what that person is thinking. And when that quiet person finally shares an opinion, everyone listens carefully, because their words feel intentional, thoughtful, and important. This is the quiet power of selective speaking. Smart people understand that influence does not come from talking more. It comes from speaking at the right moment. Timing matters. Words matter, and silence allows both to become stronger. Silence also builds an image of confidence. Think about two different people. One person constantly tries to prove their knowledge. They talk loudly, interrupt others, and argue to show they are right. The second person listens calmly. They observe the conversation. They only speak when they truly have something valuable to add. Which one appears more confident? Most people will say the second person because real confidence does not need constant validation. It does not need to prove itself in every conversation. It simply exists quietly. Another powerful benefit of silence is clarity. When people talk too much, they often speak without thinking. Their thoughts become messy. Their words become confusing. But when someone spends more time listening, their thoughts become clearer. They understand the situation more deeply, and when they finally speak, their message becomes precise and meaningful. This is why many great leaders are known for listening more than speaking. They gather information before making decisions. They observe different perspectives before sharing their own, and because of this, their words carry authority. Silence also helps avoid unnecessary conflict. Many arguments begin because someone reacts too quickly. A careless comment, a misunderstood tone, a rushed response. But when you pause before speaking, you give yourself time to choose your words wisely. Sometimes you realize that the conversation is not worth continuing. Sometimes you understand that silence will solve the situation faster than arguing. This ability to pause is a sign of maturity and emotional intelligence. Smart people understand that protecting peace is more important than winning every debate. They choose progress instead of pointless confrontation. They choose understanding instead of ego. And over time, this habit builds something extremely powerful: reputation. People start seeing them as calm, thoughtful, and trustworthy, and those qualities naturally attract respect. There is something powerful about people who remain calm and quiet while everyone else is trying to be heard. These individuals often appear simple on the surface, but behind that silence, there is usually a mind that is constantly observing, analyzing, and learning. Smart people understand that every conversation reveals something important. When people talk freely, they show their beliefs, their fears, and sometimes even their weaknesses. Someone who listens carefully can learn a great deal from these small details. They understand how people think. They understand how situations develop. And most importantly, they understand when the right moment to speak has arrived. This ability to observe quietly is one of the greatest advantages intelligent people possess. While others rush to express their opinions, quiet thinkers gather information. They study the environment around them. They pay attention to tone, body language, and reactions. These observations help them understand the bigger picture of any situation. And when someone understands the bigger picture, their decisions become wiser. Silence also allows the mind to remain calm. In stressful situations, many people panic and react emotionally. They speak without thinking. They make decisions based on temporary feelings. But someone who has learned the power of silence can slow down their reactions. They take a moment to breathe. They analyze what is really happening, and this calm thinking often leads to better outcomes. Another important reason smart people stay quiet is focus. Talking constantly can scatter attention, but silence keeps the mind centered. Quiet individuals often use their mental energy to improve themselves. Instead of proving themselves, they read more. They think deeply. They develop skills quietly while others are busy competing for attention. Over time, this habit creates real growth. The person who spends more time learning than talking slowly becomes more knowledgeable and capable. Their confidence grows naturally because it is built on real understanding. And when such a person speaks, their words carry clarity and depth. Silence also protects intelligent people from unnecessary problems. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Not every situation requires a reaction. Sometimes the smartest choice is simply to observe and move forward. By speaking less, they avoid many conflicts that others create through careless words. Their calm presence creates a sense of stability. People feel comfortable around them because they are not aggressive or impulsive. This quiet strength becomes a form of influence. Others begin to trust their judgment. They start valuing their perspective, and slowly the quiet person becomes someone people naturally respect. Because wisdom is rarely loud, true intelligence often appears calm, patient, and thoughtful. And those who understand the power of silence know that sometimes the strongest voice in the room is the one that speaks the least. When people first see someone quiet, they sometimes misunderstand it. They assume that silence means shyness. They assume it means lack of confidence. Or sometimes they believe the quiet person simply has nothing to say. But the truth is often the complete opposite. Many of the most intelligent individuals choose silence not because they cannot speak, but because they understand the value of speaking at the right moment. They know that words are powerful. Once spoken, they cannot be taken back. This awareness makes them careful, thoughtful, and intentional with every sentence they share. Smart people also understand that life is full of distractions, arguments, opinions, unnecessary conversations. If they reacted to every situation, they would waste valuable energy. Instead, they protect their attention. They focus on learning, growing, and improving themselves. Silence becomes a tool that protects their time and their peace. It gives them space to think clearly, and clear thinking leads to better decisions. Another powerful advantage of silence is self-control. The ability to remain calm when others lose their temper is a rare skill. When someone insults you, it is easy to react. When someone disagrees with you, it is easy to argue. But choosing silence in those moments shows emotional strength. It shows that you are in control of your reactions rather than controlled by them. People who master this ability often become natural leaders, not because they talk the most, but because they understand the most. Their calm presence makes others feel safe. Their thoughtful words carry meaning, and their patience allows them to see opportunities others miss. Over time, people begin to trust them. They listen more closely when they speak, and their influence grows quietly but powerfully. The interesting thing about silence is that it creates space. Space to think, space to observe, space to understand people and situations more deeply. In that quiet space, intelligence grows stronger, confidence becomes stable, and wisdom begins to develop. Silence also reminds us that we do not need to prove ourselves to everyone. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves attention. Sometimes the strongest decision is simply to move forward and let your actions speak for you. Because actions, over time, reveal far more than words ever could. So if you find yourself being someone who speaks less and listens more, do not see it as a weakness. It may be one of your greatest strengths. The ability to stay calm, observe carefully, and speak thoughtfully is a rare skill in a noisy world. And those who master this skill often discover something powerful. That silence, when used wisely, is not emptiness, and it is strength without the need for attention. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, sometimes the smartest choice is simply to listen, learn, and let your quiet mind shape a powerful future.